everyone, my name is Tiffany and this is my channel, Who's Your Handmade? Thank you so much for stopping by today. Today I have a video all about how I organize, catalog, and store my patterns. I'm excited to share that with you today, and if it sounds interesting to you, stick around. First of all, what am I wearing today? My shirt is ready to wear. It is a raglan kind of baseball tee that my mother picked up for me, but my skirt, which you really can't see, there's a little bit of it, is the Pattern Emporium sporty lounge skirt that I mentioned in my last Friday sews. So I will pop a picture up right there of what that skirt looks like. Very fun to make. I highly recommend that pattern. It is so awesome. I have 4 of them and I've been wearing them all summer. So that is what I'm wearing today. So today I wanted to jump back to a question that Jen had posed to us in our Friday Sews group. How do you store your patterns? And as I was thinking about that and how I store them and catalog them and kind of organize them, I thought, oh my, we don't have time on a Friday Sews for me to explain all that. So hence why I'm here today with a whole video dedicated to how I store my patterns. Also, I'm making this video today because I love watching these videos. I'm nosy, you guys. I want to see how you're storing your patterns. I love seeing how others are storing patterns and fabric, and I just love getting organizational ideas. And you know, if you don't need organizational ideas, that's totally fine. Maybe you're just nosy to see how I do it. So before I jump in, I wanted to make the point that this organizational series, and I am going to kind of make it into a series. I'm going to do patterns today, fabric is coming, and even my swatch book is coming in their own videos. And I just want to caveat this whole series and say that these processes are entirely personal to your own situation. So I'm showing you how it's working for me in my space right now, and it could totally work different for you in your space. How big is your sewing room? How big is your stash? How deep do you want to take your organization to? It's totally personal. So don't feel like because I'm showing you how I do it, that it's the only way that's out there to do this. It's absolutely not. It's one of a million ways. And really, I've kind of evolved as I've grown my pattern stash and my fabric stash. So it's ever evolving. When I move sewing rooms, it's going to evolve again into a new space. So yes, just want to let you know how I do it is not the end all be all. It's just an informational video today, kind of showing you how I organize. So let's jump right in. I am going to show you how I catalog my patterns. I use an app, so I'm going to first show you how I catalog via the app, and then I'm going to show you actual storage, and I have all my patterns all around me, so forgive me if I look at them. I have my big 4 patterns or my paper patterns, and when I mean paper, I mean like these kind of patterns. Big 4, we know what those look like, you know, this kind, but also I'm talking about even if they're indie and they're in the paper form, I'm going to be storing them, these 2, the same way. And then I'll get into, you can kind of peek them here, my PDF patterns and how I catalog those and how I store them depending on how I got them printed and also if I've traced them off. So let's jump right in. Try not to be too chatty today, you guys. Okay, so I do use an app, and I'm gonna kind of scoot over so that I can show you. I'll show you how to find it on the App Store. I will kind of show you how I put in my each new pattern, and I do this as soon as I get a new pattern so that I can stay on top of this process. Otherwise, it gets very overwhelming and daunting. So I use an app called Sewing Patterns. Forgive me if I look down. I want to get my notes right for you guys. It is called Sewing Patterns. So if you go to and I have an Apple phone, so I'm going to be using the Apple store, app store. So if you go to the app store and you search sewing patterns, this is what will come up. And I'm hopefully showing you all this. And they have two versions of this app. They have the sewing patterns, and that cost me $5 upon initial purchasing of this app. I honestly don't know how expensive it is right now. If you are interested, definitely go look it up for yourself. I heard about this app off of the Dorothy's Daughter channel, and I'll link her channel down below. She has an amazing channel. I'm sure you guys have heard of her, Kim, over there at Dorothy's Daughter. She's amazing, and I've watched her since the beginning of my YouTube career as a career watcher. And anyway, one day she was describing how she uses this app, and I fell in love with it and knew that that's the route that I wanted to take. So I purchased it for $5, and then there's no additional fees. You have unlimited in my experience anyway. I'm sure there's a limit, but I don't know what it is. Amount of patterns that you can put in there, and you can organize them to a level that is like you wouldn't want to organize them anymore. Like, it's very, very organized, and I'm going to show you guys what that looks like inside that app. But back to the version. So you have the one for $5, or it was $5 in when I bought it. And then you have a free version that's called Sewing Patterns Lite. And that version gives you space for 10 patterns. So if you're not real sure if you're going to like this kind of an app, download the free version and you can load in 10 patterns and just see if it works for you. Try it out, see if you like it. So this app has been so amazing, and I'm not telling you to get this app. There's a lot of apps out there. You saw me scrolling through them. There's a ton of apps out there. I know there's some being tested right now in the sewing community. Some are coming down the pike. There's other ones like Trello, which I've never looked at before, but I want to stress to you guys the awesomeness of an electronic database for your patterns that you can carry with you. Let me tell you why that's so important. I would go to Joann's, and I would go to back when Hobby Lobby was doing pattern sales, and I would stock up on those $1.99 patterns, and I was buying duplicates, and I started bringing those home, like 2 and 3 of the same one that I already had. And I was like, oh, I need a solution. I need a solution to be able to, in the store, know what was in my stash at home. And that is why these electronic repositories are so amazing. You can take your phone with you. Your app is on your phone. And as you're in Joann's or Hobby Lobby, if they ever bring back sales, or anywhere, if you're ordering offline, pull that app up, scroll down to Simplicity. Do I have this Simplicity pattern? You can look it up in a flash and know, whoa, do not need to buy a third copy of that. So that's what made it so amazing for me. Also for indie patterns, if you like indie patterns, some people, that's not their jam, but I love them. And some companies do not tell you on their website, whoa, you already bought this pattern. You know, you already have this one. Sometimes I've added 2 of them to my cart and checked out with 2 of them. Why would I need 2 of the same indie pattern? I don't. So I can pull up this app on my phone or on my iPad, and I can see, do I have that Ellie Mac pattern? So I think Ellie Mac actually does tell you that you already have bought that one, but anyway, I'm just using it as an example. So you can pull them up very quickly and see what all you have. Even if you're not like purchasing them, just browsing through PDF patterns. I don't know how people keep track of what they have. I have such a large amount of PDF patterns, I would never remember what I have purchased. Like if I was planning my fall plans or my winter plans, I would not remember that I had purchased that pattern. So it is so awesome to pull up that electronic repository, go in there, see what Love Notions patterns I already have, what could work with this fabric. It's worth its weight in gold. So $5 for the purchase of this particular app, no brainer, no brainer. Okay, so that's the app I use. And then hopefully I've shown you what the app looks like, maybe me inserting my pattern. So I do that, like I said, for every pattern that comes in. You can put as much information, you can put pictures, you could take, what I kind of regret doing is taking a picture of the front and then taking a picture of the back, because the back gives you, you know, yardage and sizing and all that kind of good stuff. I wish I had put a picture of the back, so maybe that's something that I do down the road. But yeah, I'll put those into my app and then I store them. We're talking about Big Four here. I'll show you how I store them. I purchased these bins from Hobby Lobby, and I actually had Mom just get me some for Christmas. And I was on cloud 9 that I got these for Christmas. These are called art bins, and I'll again insert a picture of what they look like on Hobby Lobby's website. And these are perfect size. They're the perfect size to get your patterns in one wide. Now I know people sometimes use like filing cabinets, and they use there's all different kinds of ways to store your patterns, but this is what works for me in my shelving. And I will try to take a picture of where my patterns are all together. I also keep them by company. It's a controversial, again, just the way I do it. Some people break them out by like shirts and pants and dresses, and while, you know, that's awesome for them, I can't break up the companies. I want to keep my company together. So this is a Simplicity, one of my Simplicity buckets, and then they're by number. And I try to stay away from the rack numbers, but if I do grab some rack numbers, I try to write the real Simplicity number on the outside and then store them that way. So that is for my Big Four patterns, or paper copies of my indie patterns. And those art bins, you saw them probably there in that picture with a lid on them. They come with a lid, and they come with these plastic dividers. I removed the lid and I removed the divider. They just work perfect to organize my Big Four patterns in. So that is my Big Four patterns. Okay, moving on to indie patterns. I have several indie patterns, and I will print those as I need them. Some people like to print them all as soon as they buy them, or do, you know, a big mass printing, and I have done some of that. What you see kind of here are ones that I have kind of mass printed. I print with the Blue Cup Shop. She has an Etsy store. It's amazing. She's an amazing person. She works with you like one-on-one. I have never used PDF plotting. I've heard great things about their company, but the Blue Cup Shop, there's like a real person, you know, on the other side, and she works with me really, really well to get my things printed, and she does a great job. So that's what these are, and they come standard folded like this. You can ask her to do them as a roll, but it's fine. These are fine for me. So as they come in and they stay in their original copy shop format, I put them into this bucket right here. So you can see all of them in there. And then as I use them, I will roll them up into these tubes that you see here. So I don't always do copy shop printing. It kind of depends on how many pages are in a file. If it's 40's pushing it. 40 really, I have done some that are 40, but I don't really like to. So a 40 is kind of like my cutoff. So if they have 40 pages or more, I'm going to the copy shop, but if they have less than that, I will print them off at home and tape them together. So that's what these are for the most part, these ones that you see here. And these are, because I print from my iPad, I have to print all sizes, which is fine because I don't want to be taping together paper copies all the time anyway. So I go ahead and print to all the sizes, and then I will roll them up into these tubes and secure them with a rubber band, or this one has some leftover binding. And then I will label them. You can kind of see that right there. This one is the Toronto Day Dress. Label them somewhere on the end where I will know what that copy is. As I said, I do trace my sizes off, and those copies, whether I'm tracing a butterick pattern or a indie pattern, I'm putting them into my binders. So if I were to trace off this butter pattern right here, I would put the original pattern pieces back in its sleeve, and I would file this away with the butterick patterns. If I traced it off, its copy would go into my binder labeled traced paper patterns. That is where I can keep track of the ones that I have traced off. For example, this one is a shirt pattern, I believe, Simplicity S9394, and I have put in these little page protector sleeves all the pieces that go with that. Why don't I pull all of the paper out? It's a thing for me, you guys. I want to keep these intact. I want to keep them together. I'm a purist. I don't know. I just want to keep it all together. But the paper will not fit in there very well. So that's why I made a binder. Now you see I have more binders back here, and I will show you those. This is how I will store a lot of my little girls' clothes or my traced off indie patterns. And I have broken out in 2 binders 2 of my most used companies. So this is Little Lizard King. If you've never heard of them, they are primarily, Little Lizard King is the children's version, and their sister store is Styla, and they have ladies patterns. But this one I had to make out into its own binder because I have so many patterns that I have already used. Now, I do not add anything to this binder that I have not made. So when I go on to Little Lizard King and I saw, for example, this Parker dress, I printed out the Parker dress and I sewed it up for my daughter. So when I was doing that, I printed the first page of those pattern instructions, and that's when I add that to my book, my binder here, with the traced off size pieces. I hope I'm making sense to you guys. So I don't add just all of my indie patterns. I have a ton of Little Lizard King patterns, and they're not all in here. Like I said, they're on my electronic repository, so I can go in there anytime I want to and see what Little Lizard King patterns I have, but I can go into my binder and see which ones I have actually printed off and made. And for Addie's little pieces, you'll kind of see there, these are actual the paper pattern themselves. I have not traced off Addie's size. Hers are so tiny that it's no big deal. I mean, when they're using like 4 pages, it's no big deal to reprint that at a different size one day. So for Addie's sizes, I do cut the original pattern. The next one, same kind of concept, is my Ellie Mac binder. I just make so many of Ellie Mac patterns that I had to break it out into its own binder. So again, when I was ready to make, this is the shirt that I just made not very long ago, the Going Home sweater. This is the first picture of their instructions, and then in that, with it, is my traced off copy of all my pattern pieces. So that is how I store all of my Ellie Mac patterns, and I have made all of these, and there are my pattern pieces. two more binders that I have are, this one is my A0 printing. So this is how I kind of keep track of what's over here without trying to unfold them and read the names that I have. So I have, for example, I have some style art patterns. So I went ahead and printed off just pictures of those patterns and put them in here, kind of like a catalog of what's over here. I could, I have these in my electronic repository. I have that, I purchased them, but I have not indicated in there that I actually printed them out. So this binder is to tell me that, hey, you have the Pattern Emporium Keep It Simple Babe tee in here somewhere. You've already printed it, so it's in here. And it's in my A0 binder, so I know it's right over here. That's just, how I've done everything. My toaster sweater was an A0 pattern, and I have cut that down, and here's the pattern pieces for that. Yeah, so there's my Toronto day dress. So I was just showing you the Toronto day dress. So here's the big A0 printing of it. These are all the sizes. So I put that together on a roll in my little basket. And then here is my traced off pieces in the binder, ready to rock and roll. And then the last binder that I have is my PDF patterns. This is random companies. I broke out, like I said, Little Lizard King and Ellie Mac because I just have an enormous amount of them. So this one is just PDF patterns from random companies. There's that little pinafore that I'm making for Addie. A peekaboo patterns. I turned that one into a swim tank. Just, so I have those patterns, and I've printed them off, and I've traced them, and then there's their pieces. So this is all pieces that I have kept. And I even have, like, there's the mood shacket, the infamous mood shacket. And I have all the instructions for it. I don't usually print out instructions, but I did for that mood. For some reason, I printed those off. I don't know. So I have all that in those binders. So yeah, that is how I organize, how I store, and how I catalog all of my patterns. I hope that was interesting to you. Tell me how you catalog your patterns down below. I am always looking for improvement. And as I said, one day when I get into my new sewing room, things might change and we'll have another video. All right, thank you so much for watching, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.